It's that time of the day for you to get comfy, kick back, relax. You are now lounging with the Purples.
My coffee is cold. Yeah, I was about to feel what
Do you want God to warm it for you or make another cup?
No, let's get into your stuff.
I want to know, how did you get into touring internationally? Like, where did that come from or come about?
You don't give Vida and Megan Bean your money for coffee. They drink coffee in a fras and they koopie expensive sandwich, sit brood in and save.
Yeah.
That's how you do it. You go to the airport, you say, can I get 2 tickets or 1 ticket? I'm going there. No, I'm joking. So my first trip to Europe was paid for by an organization. I had hosted some international guests here and on an exchange project. So they were here, we worked with, and it was so cool because I kind of, you know what they say, executive produce. So I was like overseeing this one project, working in the schools with a group from Germany called Each One Teach One, Zoyani from Freshly Ground, Jits Finger, Ija van Lirik, Teba, and some other Cape Town, who I considered are like amazing South African musicians, and they just don't get the shine or the respect or recognition they should or that's due to them. But they were on the project with some of the German musicians or whatever. So those guys stayed here for like, I think 3 to 4 weeks. And it was kind of like a thing that they were here. Next, we should probably go there. But remember, our rand goes into the euro. How many times? 20, 19, whatever. So it's not the same thing, you know. So for them to come here and for us to go, there's not the same thing. So we did a bunch of stuff. I don't want to say fundraising, but, you know, we reached out to a bunch of people and then we raised some money. And then here's the thing about it, man. Again, I don't realize how much I miss my dad a lot. And that's why I can, I speak about him. And I was the baby, so obviously I'm his favorite son. My brothers don't have to worry. But
See, we have that in common.
So my dad, like I said, the first time I was on Table Mountain was because my dad took me there or whatever. And it's like, you don't go to the top of the mountain so the world can see you, man. You go there so that you can see the world. So I went to Germany and I took 11 kids from Guguletu with me. Wow. And some of these kids have never been in a bus with aircon. Do you know what I mean? Some of these kids have never been outside of Guguletu.
Yeah.
Some of these kids have never been, like I said, to Simonstown. So I managed this project, got the money, got the people in Germany to understand what it was we were trying to do and take these kids out of that environment. And again, it's just amazing that this happened in 2007, but in 2017, exactly 10 years later, I did a speaking engagement at one of the colleges in Cape Town, North King College. And when I was done speaking, I think I was getting my bag or my laptop, whatever, just like sort of off the side of the stage. And this girl came onto the stage and not thinking, she wants a picture because I'm a superstar. It wasn't like that. I was just like, why is this girl coming onto the stage, man? Like, she must go. Like, they must leave because I want to leave, whatever. And you're waiting for everybody to leave, then you can go to your car. And she was like, hi, Eazy, how are you? And I was like, I'm fine, how are you? And she's like, I'm good. You don't remember me? And I was like, from where? And she's like, I went with you to Germany in 2007 and I have my own hairdresser now. And what? And I was like, what? And I'm like, how's so-and-so? Oh, no, he's a chef at the one and only hotel.
Wow.
And how's no, he's at the 12 Apostles. How's so-and-so? Oh, no, she has a baby, but she also has her own business. She's like a catering business, whatever. And that's just amazing. It's not because of me. I'm just saying it's good that these kids turned out to do something. I'm part of that story. And there are people that did that. So for me, like I said, in Germany, we took these kids on an exchange project. They performed in Germany. They sang songs, performed
Look
shows.
Your dad opened your eyes.
No, but that's what I'm saying.
You have an opportunity now to open up someone
Exactly.
else's
And that's what it
eyes.
is, man. It's the fact that you get a chance to do that. And I did that more than once. I took some other people also, and I then also managed projects where I send sort of a graffiti artist, a poet, a rapper, and a singer on the project. And for this one project, you had to get the funding, you had to be under 30, which this country considered youth up until 30. Over 30, you're not youth anymore, whatever. So if you were under 30, you could go. So because obviously I'm active in the scene, let's call it that, I know who's who in the zoo, and I've seen or listened to the music and check social media, and I've been to Artscape or the Backstore, whatever. So I would go and say, hey, what's your name, Garth? Cool, look, I like what you're doing. Cool, where can I find more of your stuff? Or give me your number, or send me some stuff or whatever. And then I'll check it and I'll be like, okay, cool, this guy's not rapping about cars and money and gold and girls and weed or whatever. He's actually have a story, or the subject matter is interesting and people learn something, or there's a takeaway. cool, put him with so and whatever. So some cool stuff have happened, throughout that. So so here's the thing, man. In 2004, 2005, I had sold my one car. I I drove past this car in Bridgetown. I think I was probably on my way to Golden Deer. So I drove past this car with some of my chummies, and we were like, "Man, bro, look at this van. It just looked super cool." And the next thing when we turn, the van's going past us, and we see a for sale sign on the van. And we like, huh? But in our mind, we like, we can't afford this van.
Yeah.
So we leave it, and then another, like maybe 5-6 days later, we're like in Goodwood somewhere, and we see the same van. And this woman is driving, and we're a bunch of dudes in the car. So obviously, she's not too excited to engage and talk to us because we're like a bunch of dudes. But at the traffic light, she puts her window down, and it's a left-hand drive. So literally, my driver window is next to her driver window now because she's on the left.
Yeah.
And we also like, oh, left-hand drive. So I want to say, and then we'll share, I can't remember. But I was like, hey, like, you selling the van? And she's like, yes, I'm from Namibia. Oh, no, she said her husband's from Namibia. She's from Cape Town. She's like, I'm here for whatever, a wedding, a funeral. She was in Cape Town for something. They're leaving the van here, and then they're going back to Namibia. So, this and that. So she writes some stuff on a piece of paper. She throws the paper through the window, and we get it. So it was just like, for whatever, we not talk to her. And she was an older lady. It wasn't like we were bowling or like trying to flirt with her. It was genuinely like interested because it was kind of like, let's dream,
Yeah.
But I had a Taz. I was going to say I had a TT, but it was a TT, no, Toyota Taz. So I was in my TT.
Without the 4 circles.
Yeah. So I was in my TT asking this woman about this car. And then I think I had called her from a cell phone, and I was like, how much do you want for the car? Have you spoken to your husband? Whatever. And she was like, A, B, and C. And then we didn't talk. And then another time she called, and she was like, listen, my husband is saying we're going to drop the price. And I was like, cool. And then she's like, but we're looking for another car. And I was like, do you want a TT? So I literally swapped the car, I think, yeah. Or it was like, if we sold it, the money wasn't like that much difference. So anyway, I got this car, and I was like, yo, I've only seen this van in books or whatever. So I was like, man, bro, I watched this Chris Rock, or is it Chris Rock? I watched this comedy thing of his, and he was like, yo, they're spinning, nigga,
they're spinning, yes.
So I put spinners on the van, and then I went and I put DVD screens in, and I don't know, I think
Heel
I got,
wat West Coast
yes,
customs.
exactly. So I think I had like 20 or 30 speakers in the car. And I was like, yo, I'm pumping my own ride now. But it was so stupid when I think about it now, because I could have done so much stuff with that money. But when you talk about touring internationally, I sold that thing eventually. But it was just like, it's so phony, man. Like, we do things, we spend money we don't have to buy things we don't need, to impress people we don't know, or don't even like. In my case, it was more don't even know.
Yeah.
But it was just like cool. And I had idiot friends who would say stuff like, you spend 60 seconds at the traffic light. How do you want to be remembered? And I'm like, okay, whatever. How do you want to be remembered? Like, okay. Like, but that's like the stupid stuff they was telling you, man. So it's like all about image, talk about that. So you hip hop, this car says whatever. And hip hop and cars have always had this thing. It's like jewelry or whatever. Which is cool, but again, like, you spend money when you have money, and I didn't have a lot of money, but that was the perception. People just thought because you had this American model van, whatever. And so I sold that thing, and then, like I said, in hindsight, I was just like, now going forward, I can be like, I can buy a set of mags so that Garth and his chummies can say, yo, you got Kwai wheels for 2 days, and then they don't care anymore. Or I can take that same money, because the price, a decent set of mags is what, 12,000 Rand, I guess. But that's a return ticket to New York.
Yeah.
It's 11,000 Rand. It's not a lot of money. People buy sneakers for that. If I want to learn something and there's a book or DVD to learn that, and it costs 300 Rand, that means I just have to give up one packet of Spookies or one lunch bar a day, or one coffee that's 40 Rand or whatever. So it's just how bad do you want it, man? And we make excuses for it. It's like, oh, it's expensive.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like whatever. It's like gym is expensive, but it's not expensive to walk up the stairs, man. It's not expensive to walk in the park. And when you walk in the park, it's not the gym, but you are still doing more than the guy sitting on the couch saying, when I have money, I'm going to go to gym.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's like, you must just create, man. It's like, when I have money, I'll buy me a drum machine.
Yeah.
Or when I have money, I'm going to buy me a camera. When I have money, I'm going to buy me this, and I'm going to have
Rather
this.
invest in something.
And people say that, But it's an excuse because they don't want to start, man. And again, we want advice. And people ask me all the time, they inbox me for advice. And I'm like, you don't need advice, you need discipline, man.
True. No, so
Because you know what to do, you just don't want to do it. Now,
Now,
I must tell you to do it. And if it doesn't work, you're going to say, easy told you.
Exactly.
And I'm like, no, but
Exactly.
what do you want, man? Do you want, like, chummies of mine who tell me they want a DJ or they want to, you know, rap, and then they buy like a 65-inch TV, and I'm like, do you want a DJ or do you want to have a home theater? Like,
And
make
you
it
need to sacrifice.
exactly. So for me,
really.
the touring, it wasn't even that. So the Germany trip for me was like, oh, these people are flying me to Germany. I'm taking these kids there, and they're gonna give me 3 days off in the days that I'm off. And at that time, we had MySpace, no, before Facebook.
Yes.
So I had just made contacts, and I was like, hey, I'm coming to Germany. You don't have to pay for my flight. I'm going to be there.
Yeah.
Is there a chance I can DJ? Yeah. And then when I meet someone else, because you're not an idiot, you know, you present yourself, obviously,
Yes.
in a certain way. You either
Yes.
send them a mixtape, you send them a mix, you send them professional photos, which you pay for. And it's the same with tax. Like, no, I must be paid tax. Blah, blah, blah. The government stole so much. No, you pay tax so that you can get tax back. And then you just do it because it's right for yourself. Because when you get into commerce or you get into a place where you sell products, you want people to pay.
Exactly.
So it's always, you know, it's always the, you know, people to complain, man. So I got into this headspace where like, it's cool. I see what so-and-so is doing. I'm happy for them, but that's what they're doing. This is what I want to do. So doing it yourself, it takes a bit longer to get there, but the reward is so much better.
It's so much better.
And I consider myself a giver. And, you know.
And talking about giving, you also giving your time
Exactly.
to various organizations still today. I think for your 45th birthday, if you don't mind me saying.
No,
don't
you
know,
can say it.
women have
No
this
one
thing
knows how
about-
long ago. It was last week.
Hy is klaar, legend.
Yeah, it was last week.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know. There's this thing, women, you can't tell you, they mustn't say the age. I'm like, I'm proud to be 30, I can't wait to be 40. Anyway, I digress. For your 45th birthday, you donated to
Hannah's Place.
Hannah's
Yeah.
Place.
So Hannah is obviously a very cool name. It's a very important name for me
Yes.
also. But Hannah's Place, the work they do is amazing.
Yeah.
So I had found out about the organization, and one of my closest friends in Joburg, he's actually also a cool cat. He's a b-boy, and he works, you know, for one of the brands in Joburg. But he has his own watch. He didn't buy a watch and write his name on there with the Cokie. He actually has a watch. It's like a watch you can buy in the store from Nixon. The brand is Nixon.
Wow.
And he has his own watch with Nixon. So he got this partnership or this collab with them. And then, you know, we obviously supported him by buying the watch. And then other people bought the watch. And also, the brand's not going to do a second model if the first one is not selling. So, you know, it's kind of like, no, you buy the watch whether you're going to wear it or not. You buy your friend's thing. You'd buy one if Kim Kardashian said it was Kwayo. You buy one if Jay-Z says it's Kwayo.
Yeah.
Now it's your own brand. Now you don't want to buy it.
Or you ask for the discount.
Exactly. So we buy it. We don't ask for the discount. And then he had a watch. I think because he had 2 or the brand probably gave him 5. I don't know. But he had a watch and he was like, he heard about this organization when he was in Cape Town and he was like, he's going to auction the watch. So, actually, I'm lying. He was going to auction the watch, and then he said, "Easy, what could we do with the money?"
Okay.
And then I'd found the work
Hannah's
that
Place
Hannah's Place was doing. So that's what happened, yeah. So this was me just putting him in touch with them. So they was like, "Hey, thank you, DJ Eazy. So-and-so contacted us." But what was cool is they auctioned the watch. So let's say you start on 200 Rand, and then someone else said 500 Rand, and, and eventually the watch is like, I think the watch also 2.2, but eventually it got to like 5,000 Rand, and no one did more. The people who were saying 200 Rand, they didn't say, "Oh, I didn't get it, that guy's buying." They all still gave the money.
Wow.
Even though they didn't get the watch. And then the Nixon staff, they were like, "We each also going to give like X amount,"
That's
which is crazy. So they got a
awesome.
bit of money out of that. And then at the time, I was like, I also want to do something. So it was a couple of months later, and I was like, cool, instead of people buying me stuff, because I guess, I don't spend a lot of money on people because it's just, there was COVID or whatever, because this was last year, right? My 45th, yes, that you're talking about. I'm thinking, yeah, how old am I? But so I was just like, I don't want to party because it's COVID. I
Yeah.
don't want people to spend money. I'm going to go. One of my friends has a nice house out in Yundadno. I could never afford to live there. Or even if I had the money, I don't think I want to live there. But he's got a nice house in Yundadno. And he was like, yo, you could go to my house. No one's there. Because he wasn't staying in the house. He could stay in the house, take a break or whatever. So I went and I spent some time there. And then I'm like, okay, cool. I'm saving so much money because initially it was going to be like an overseas trip for my birthday, whatever. And because of COVID, there was no jazz festival, there was no Red Bull BC1, which I would have been the DJ for. And I was also going to go to Russia for an event that I hosted here as an MC. The world finals was in Russia, and I was going to accompany the South African champ, but that also got cancelled. So I was just like, I'm mad at the world because I didn't travel, and I like to travel, whatever. So I was like, I'm going to do something for someone else. And it was really cool, people reaching out, and instead of giving me money, and it wasn't 45, and like I said, I think, can you buy a McDonald's meal 45? And I don't know.
You can actually.
Oh, okay. But
it's not good for you.
Yeah, but 45 is not a lot of money. So,
but 45 rand for Hannah's place of safety
it's a good thing, yeah. Yes. So you know what's interesting about that? On the flip side, I had worked with a school teacher from Kensington that told me that she heard girls she heard them talk or overheard them talk saying that when you have a baby and you're not married, the government gives you 180 rand. And this sounded like a good reason for them to get pregnant because the government gives you 180 rand. And I was like, what? So we went to one of the big malls. Exactly. We went to the mall. That's the way you're rolling your eyes. That's what I did. We went to the mall and we basically asked one of the shops that sell the baby stuff. And we're like, hey, give us a list, what the prices. And then we went back to the school and we told these kids that we now identified. We didn't say, we heard you said that. We obviously just made like what's it, life skills thing. Yeah, because I do that kind of stuff in the school. So I was like, okay, cool. So if you have a baby or you had to take care of a baby, what would you have to buy? So the kids would say wipes and Vaseline and Aqueous cream and nappies and what's it, pins and whatever, baby powder and whatever. He's ready, no? And they say baby powder. Okay. So all that stuff is there. And then we were like, okay, cool.
Where my mind was. I was like, 180 and these are nappies.
Exactly.
Done.
So that's what we did. So we were like, cool. Then we said to them, so here's 180 rand. Bring me the stuff on the list. And they were like, it's not enough money. And we were like, exactly. So, but in the same way, man, it's like, it's perspective, man. If there's a 6 year and from where you're sitting, it's a 9. And from where I'm sitting, it's a 6. You're not wrong if you're saying it's 9. From where you're sitting, it's a 9. From where I'm sitting, it's a 6. Do you understand? And people are just like, no, this is the way I see it. And if you don't see it like this, it's because... And I was like, my bro, it's... No. I choose my struggles. I have enough things to worry about. I don't get involved in unnecessary vibes. I'd rather stay at home and watch Netflix with my wife. Have you seen my wife? Yes, you haven't.
Talking about your wife.
So no, I'm joking. I always say that. Like when you were newly married, my homeboys would be out. They're like, "Must you leave now?" I'm like, "Must? No, I want to leave. Have you seen my wife? I don't have to go. I want to go."
I mean, look here, your wife is seriously sexy. But talking about your wife,
listen, I must be honest with you. I had to, when I did a tour with American rapper and 2 other people. His tour manager and another girl was on the tour. She was also an MC. And I remember we were staying in Joburg, and my laptop, I don't know what I was doing in my laptop in this guest house we were staying at, and the laptop screensaver at the time had my wife's picture up, and they were like, "Are you looking at porn?" And I'm like, "No, it's my wife." But it wasn't, she was dressed in the picture, but they just saw a beautiful woman, and they're like, "Who's that?" And I'm like, "It's my," at the time, I was like, "It's my girlfriend." They were like, "No." They made me phone her and pay international rates so they could see her, because they didn't believe me. They're like, "There's no way this woman is your girlfriend." Like, I was like, "What?" So I am not shy when people are like, "Is that your wife? She's amazing." I know I'm married out of my league.
When I meet her, all I want to do is like touch her goals. Like, that's all I want to do.
Are you obsessed with that vibe? Okay.
Yes, now I love her curls.
I would have loved to actually retire and make my wife become a curl influencer. You know those people that go, "Hi guys, some of you asked what did I do to do this," but she would never do that.
No, your wife is too fly for that. Your wife is too fly.
I'm joking.
But talking about your wife, how did you guys meet?
How or where?
How? And where did you guys meet? And how long ago did you meet?
So we have to define the word meet, because meet is when you actually say, "Hi, I'm so and so."
Okay.
But seeing the person first. So that Germany trip.
You don't have to be so technical. Just
I
give
want
us
to
some
be.
I thought he was going to say, when you say meat, you talk about a butcher.
No, I'm saying, because someone can be like, "I saw her for the first time," and it's not. "I saw it. It was love at first sight." Or I knew. No, it wasn't like that. I saw her. Let me think. I went to a place in Maitland one night. I just come back from the Germany tour, and I had popped in at this venue, and she was coming out with her then boyfriend, I think. And I saw this girl, and I was like, "Yo, that's a pretty girl." She walked past me or whatever, and that was it. We didn't talk, we didn't whatever. Through a mutual friend, she told another guy that I knew that she was trying to, dance and do whatever, and she wanted to go study overseas. I went to Emil from Black Noise had this thing called Breaking Barriers, and it was, Emil had this thing called Breaking Barriers, and it was this thing I think it was the District 6 Museum. It was this thing for school kids from like 3 different communities in Cape Town. So let's say Hout Bay, let's say Kailicha, and let's say Grassy Park. And they were literally like culture class. It's like, okay. Some of the kids arrived here with mommy and daddy dropping them in the Range Rover. Some of them came here in a van, and some of them came here by the train and the taxi. And they would exchange their stories and whatever. And Emil was obviously trying to be instrumental in that whole vibe. I had attended this through another professor at UCT. You had heard about it, and it was literally like Saturday morning, and he was like, "Did you see what Emil's doing? Are you going to go?" And I was like, "I guess I'm going now, because it sounds like if I don't go, I'm not here." Whatever. So I'm like, "I'll see you there, sir." So I showed up, and one of my other cool friends, who's now like a #1 YouTube gamer guy, he's got yellow hair, pink hair, green hair, any time of the year, Grant was there. And Grant is one of the coolest white people I know, and I'm saying this for context. So when I showed up, there weren't white kids there. But I was under the impression that's what this Breaking Barriers would be. There'd be kids from Kailicha, there'd be kids from, let's say, Constantia or whatever school. So, but that wasn't the case. Like I said, that was what we were expecting. When the guy told me about it, that's what I got from the thing. But it was more them discussing and talking about making something like that happen.
Okay.
And the only kids that were there was this group of kids that they had been working with, which I want to say could have been from a school like in Ganga, Guguletu, or whatever. And in this country where we live, we use the word, black kids to kids that speak Xhosa or Sotho or whatever, and we say coloured for brown people who speak Afrikaans and English or whatever, and then white kids. So anyway, Grant was my friend. He was there, and I had seen this girl across the room, and I said to him, "Other than you, there's only one white girl here." And that was my wife. And she was there because at the time she was attending workshops with Black Noise and Heal the Hood, because they would do these workshops. So she was just getting into the dancing. So I just saw, we didn't talk. I left the program happened, and I left before it was all done. And that was a Saturday. And on the Monday, I was at Home Affairs. And I was standing at Home Affairs at, the inquiries info counter, and this girl walks up to me and she goes, "Are you DJ Eazy or are you Eazy?" I can't remember. I guess it's weird to say "Are you Eazy" to someone that you haven't met. So I guess she said, "Are you DJ Eazy?" So she was like, "Are you DJ Eazy?" And I was like, "Yeah,
I'm easy."
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, "Who wants to know?" And then she was like, "Oh, my friend," which is this guy who I knew who's also a DJ. My friend said that because I was teaching DJ workshops in the schools with Mr. Fat Prasafanika, Crazy Hipscott was doing b-boy workshops. So we had already done a few of these workshops and DJ classes at Rhythm and at Kensington High or whatever. So she was like, "I just got a set of turntables from someone, and he had told me," because this guy was traveling or whatever. She was like, "My friend can't teach me. He DJs, he bought a new set, he gave me his old set, and he said you teach or whatever." And I was like, one-on-one? Like, what are we talking here? But I didn't make the connection, and I was like, "Listen, I'm actually busy." There was a guy with me, Andre was his name, and I remember I was like, "Do you think she's serious about DJing? Or you think whatever?" Like, we were like, messing around like that. I was like, so I took out a business card, I think. I don't know why I did that, but anyway, I took out a business card.
Because you weren't easy.
Yeah, I was like...
You were like business.
Yeah, I was like, I took out the business card, and I was like, "Hey, here's my number. When I'm not in the queue waiting for my Home Affairs number to be called a passport, we can have this conversation." So I gave her the card. I think she was there to pick up something, also leaving. The interesting story is she said she had nowhere to go. She had not applied to a school. She had not bought a ticket. She didn't even know anybody. At that point in her life, she had not even been to Johannesburg. But she had decided in her room one day that if she wanted to travel, she would need a passport.
Oh, wow.
So she was there that day to apply for a passport. I was there that day to pick up my new passport.
Nice.
Because my other one got stolen when they stole my bag. But anyways, I got there for my passport. So I think a couple of days went by, and I've got what they call resilience is like when you bounce back. When I say tenacity or determination or persistence, whatever.
Yeah.
So, and the reason I say that is when I got that job at the cell phone shop, when I went for the interview, the guy said, "We'll call you." And the next day I'm like, "Hey, did you call me today?" And he's like, "No, we'll call you." And the next day I'm like, "Listen, maybe you called me while I was in the shower, or maybe you called me while I was sleeping, or my battery died. Did you call me?" No, I still got to talk. And he called his dad, Ben. He was like, "No, I'm going to talk to Ben about it." So I'm like, "Must I call Ben?" So that Ben can phone you. And he's like, "We'll call you." And then he was like, "Where did you say you stay?" I said, "I stay in Plumstead." And he's like, "Okay, but this is for our Kells River branch." And I was like, "I can move. I have a chummy that lives there. You let me sleep on his air mattress." And he was like, No, we're opening a new shop in Claremont." So I'm like, "Oh, where?" He's like, "Yeah, it's going to be in the," at the time it was called the Atrium. It's now called Stadium on Main. You know what I did the next morning? I showed up with my lunch box.
Ew.
for
Ready.
work. He didn't say come work. He just told me where the shop was. When they showed up, I was sitting outside and I had lunch with me. And I'm like, "Yo, I'm here. Let's go." So
cool.
so when I say that my wife now, the girl that I met there, when I told her, "Here's my number," I think I was sincere when I said call me, but I didn't say call me tomorrow and call me every day for the next week. But she was like, "Hey, DJ Eazy,
Wow.
this guy is not just saying that you are DJing, he's saying that you're doing a school tour. Like, how do you get onto the tour, like as a performer?"
So you met your match.
So exactly. So I was like, okay. And then I would literally tell the people, I'm like, "It's that girl phoning again about the tour. I said I'd let her know."
It was the same, like you keep calling
Exactly,
these people asking for a job.
So I was getting my own medicine. So I was just like, "I will call you and make a decision." I'm like, "Hey, did you call or did you speak to your people?" And I'm like, so then I was like, "Okay, maybe I can throw her off." And I was like, "Listen, send me your CV." Which no one in the world needs a CV to go on a tour. She sent me a CV, like literally, she sent it.
And they're like, "Damn it."
And I was like, "Yo!" I remember I was at a friend's shop in Goodwood. It was like a shop that sells like clothing, like hip hop, not hip hop clothing, but like hoodies and sneakers or whatever. And I was at the shop talking to him, and then I was like, the shop's busy, so I'm going to come here in the office by you. So just let me check my mail. And there was this CV. And I was like, yo. So I remember messaging Azul, and it must have been on Mix It, maybe it was that time. So I was like, "Azul, do you remember the girl I told you about? She mailed me a CV now, I guess." And it's not like we had 10 other people's CVs coming in. I just asked her for this because she was phoning too much. See, the nice thing about you not inviting her to come to this interview. So
She will have a choice.
No, so I was just like, "Remember, whatever we do, we have to take this girl on tour with us." So we had 3 B-boys. She was on, and also we were kind of at this headspace, Azu and I, because we have an organization that we now did because of our UCT radio stint with our other friend Richard. So we were like, okay, if we're going to schools and we're just a bunch of guys, automatically the girls aren't interested. It's like you take a soccer clinic to a school and girls are like, "Oh, this is soccer."
Yeah.
Or you go and you talk about like netball and the guys aren't interested or cooking or whatever. So we were just like, if we go and it's like a guy DJing, a guy rapping and a guy speaking, we should kind of,
Balance
open it up. So we had a
out,
girl from Kensington High School who came through the program of the DJ classes. So she was the DJ. We had Eavesdrop, who was a rapper from Cape Town. You know Eavesdrop, right? So Eavesdrop was the rapper. Then we had my wife V, well, at that time, not even my girlfriend, this girl V, as one of the dancers. We had 2 to 3 B-boys, and Azul was also the DJ. And then obviously I managed the project, and I think at the time I also drove the van that we used or whatever. But we would then go to the schools and basically, do this program. And then we had these partners from the USA who were here. So we'd go there and, do the workshop with the kids, talk to the whole school. And from that, we get into groups of 100, which is 5 classes of 20 kids each, and we take them through this program where they write they write basically what they would do to kind of spread awareness around HIV and what it would mean if someone they knew was infected or affected or whatever the case may be. So it was a cool thing, and then obviously we became friends and we were hanging out like that. And then the passport and the home affairs thing became a thing, and it's like, "Oh, so what's your plan?" "Oh, no, I want to go to New York." So when the project was done, which was like a couple of months, if we started in, let's say, January, February, and we were done in September, October, or maybe before. But the following year, she went to study in New York, as a dance school or whatever. And it was super, super dope, because of the experience and obviously the connection
And
she
that's
made.
when you realized you must have.
So, so that's how we met.
Oh, cute.
Look at where is it.
Yeah.
Via email. Via email.
Yeah.
Oh, is that? Oh, am I
Yeah,
getting,
we met
You know, I
via
work in
email.
radio, so I can also interview you. You know? Like, where did you guys meet?
Via email.
But it's so nice that, she put her faith into action. And she said, I don't have a plan, but I know this is the first step. And we spoke about that a little bit earlier on, where you have to invest in
No,
yourself.
but yeah, people ask God for cake, and then when God gives them butter and flour and eggs, and they're like,
yes.
God, where's the cake?
Yes,
I'm
yes.
Because they want the cake ready made. But someone yesterday said that if you stuck on the highway and you just sit in the car, people are going to drive past. But if you get out of the car and you're either like looking for the spanner or the wheel brace and you're taking the wheel off, or if the car must be pushed and you start pushing, other people will come and push with you.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if you just like, I know people that they get stuck in and they pray for like half an hour, like, oh, and an angel has said there's a spare wheel in the back. Like, you don't need to pray. You know there's a spare wheel in the back. Just get out and do it, man. Like,
Easy, I
some
don't know
people-
if you know, but we've already gone over 2 hours.
Don't lie.
Yes.
My wife is
So
like-
my last
Oh, I
message.
have only 6 missed calls. It's okay.
So my last
6 missed
question.
calls.
My last question to you is, and I want you to just to keep it short because I don't want your wife to be like, I'm not gonna come and lounge you with the palms. They're gonna expect me to talk for 2 hours.
or so. No, she knows.
So you are married now for 6 years, right?
Yeah, someone
Yes.
did their homework, no?
Of course. This is what we do here.
Yeah.
Je kent jou vastlopen.
Yeah. 6 and 2.
And 6 years ago, you guys became #VEE. And on your Instagram post, I want to read this. You said, it's not a walk in the park and it works because we work it.
Yes.
And your wife, the reason that she's not here today is because she is even more busier than what you are.
Yeah, she's working.
But what do you guys do to bring you to back the two of you back to center and just spend time? How do you make time in your busy schedule?
No, look, it's
you
it's
guys?
the same with when people say I love you. Love is you can say it, but it's an action.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I love you is more than like it's like how's your day? Are you hungry? Put your seatbelt on. Let me know when you're safe there. I love you is not like yes, 80,000 rand ring or
Yeah.
I bought you this and whatever. So
Love is action put into it.
but in the same way, the person that you say I love you to, do they get on your nerves? Yes. Do they irritate you? Do they you miss them? Yeah, but they also like So in the same way, you have to choose to love them. So I can take gigs Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Like they say, you must choose. Do you want a broke husband or do you want a busy husband? Yeah, but I don't want a husband who's making a living, but he's not living a life, man. Because that's the other thing. You can be busy 7 days of the week,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then your children is calling you uncle because
Yes,
they never
because
see you. You know what I mean? Because
No, it's so true.
that's what happens. So
yeah.
for me, hustle is not working yourself to death, man. Like I like a lot of whether people call themselves motivational speakers or people that are influencers, and I like that. Like a lot of the people that are now inboxing me to buy this big toothpaste that I don't want, or people that are asking me wish you a year, or people that are saying I said Avon products of Herbalife or
Oh,
whatever.
or that
I'm
epoch
not. Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not. You know what? A lot of it, like one of your, I'm a guy that's all about like quotes and stuff, because I
Yeah.
like one day when people say, "Oh, what do you?" I like one day when I'm not here anymore. They're like, "Easy said." Like how how they quote people.
yes,
I'm like,
yes.
DJ Eazy said this. So this is not something that I said, but it's something that I read somewhere where they said a broken watch or a broken clock is still right twice a day. Think about that.
Yeah.
So if the watch is stuck here on 7:05
And it comes back.
twice a day, it's going to be
It's gonna go back.
7:07.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying by that is that from those people that are selling the big toothpaste and selling the other stuff, a lot of that self-help and not self-help, the self-development and the what you get out of it, that's very good, and that's what attracts a lot of people to it because it's nice words.
Yeah.
But think about how evil it is that there are genuinely men that go to Hanover Park and they go like, the spirit is telling me here someone is trusting God for the job. Well, you're in Hanover Park, obviously. Like you don't have to ask the spirit for that. And then people are like, oh, this man must be anointed because he knew that I'm waiting for the promotion.
Yeah.
Like I go. So in the same way, it's like you have to be intentional, man. So for me,
So you and your wife are
my
intentional.
wife and I are intentional. She knows how bad she wants to succeed. She knows that these kids depend on her to show up. She can't expect them to show up. And then, like in Afrikaans, you say, "It's because she main done."
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
you
yeah.
can be the best dancer, but if you don't show up for class, no one's going to see you.
Exactly.
And if you don't practice, people
Yeah.
will notice because they can see you haven't practiced. You know, like people say, I'm rusty. You know, when you do something like, I haven't practiced for a year.
Van my colleague dance.
Exactly. So now she does her 2-3 times a week classes, and then outside of her teaching, she also has to do her own physical vibes where she attends. Throughout lockdown, she probably did the most because she was doing a class on a Monday. That's a class in New York on Zoom.
Wow.
She would do another class with this dude in Los Angeles. And the thing that I was super inspired by when I was in New York, I found out that Denzel Washington, with all the Oscars that he's won, he still takes acting classes.
Wow.
So you never get to a place where I've got an
You've
Oscar.
mastered
it.
I've mastered the art of this thing. I went to New York with her in 2019, and she attended this class or week of classes in New York. And Omarion from B2K, he took the class with her. Like I saw his brother in the foyer, and some of them was like, "Oh, that's Omarion's brother." So we spoke because he wasn't taking the first class. So I was waiting, and the owner of the studio knew me, so he was like showing me around and showing me the different studios. And he was like, "Are you gonna stay?" And I'm like, "Dude, have you seen my stomach? I'm not doing this." He's like, "What are you talking about? I'm gonna look for records or for sneakers. I'll come back." And he was like, "Oh, blah blah blah." Then I was like, "Is that?" He's like, "Yeah," because I didn't know Omarion. And we're not homies or anything, but I met him through that experience or that visit. But I was like, wait, is that? He was like, yeah, he takes the class with us almost every year. He comes back. And I was like, yo, this dude is already dope. He's already sold. He's already, doing quite stuff. His
What
music
else
videos,
does he still
but
need
he
to?
still shows
Yeah,
up.
but he still
And
does
that's like the thing, man. Just like practice. So we understand that. So in the same way I know how much I must practice, I give her time to practice. So when she's not teaching, it's not like, oh, you're free tonight for me. But we don't have like a lot of couples who say, oh, we both have Google Calendar. When my appointment happens, it goes off on her phone. No, we don't do that. We're not there. Maybe we should do it. I don't know. But we talk. So it's like, babe, the Permals are asking me for Thursday night. Have you got class? Like if you guys asked me for, let's say, Saturday and she's not teaching, I'd be like, no.
Because you
And I
spend
wouldn't
time
have to
down.
make up a story and be like, oh, I can't. I'm
No,
going.
you'll be
No.
like,
You're gonna say,
no,
I'm gonna
my
spend
wife
some
is
time
free and I'm
I'm
free too.
exactly.
Yeah.
So we do that because we understand how important that is to just check in and whatever. We literally, and we have this thing where if she goes to work or to the studio and I go to work, we do this safe message. Not because it's like I'm checking in on you, it's because we live in a sick country. And people get robbed and Uber drivers or whatever.
Yeah.
So we do that because of that. But it's actually, like I said, that is another extension of when I'm done at work and I'm like, hey, what you up to? Because she could have just gone to the shop or could have just gone to the gym or gone with her mother, whatever. And then she'll be like, I'm going to what did you eat? I'm gonna get you that. That's also love. Checking if the person ate.
That's what we
like,
do.
That's the best
She
thing.
legit will be like,
Yeah.
are you going again? But when are you gonna sleep?
Yeah.
Not because she wants you at home. It's
No,
because she
she
wants you to
cares
sleep.
about
Exactly.
you.
So
Yeah.
so we do that. And again, like I said, we're not a power couple. We're not a celebrity couple. We don't want to be any of that stuff. But
I just want to be hashtag Team VZ.
we
that's
are
all.
Team VZ
Yeah.
because and I say this with all the sensitivity and whatever because I know like we also have problems like whatever, but we're on the same team and the sooner you realize that like I said, if you now
Amen.
didn't put the toilet seat down, then you're now going to be like, I did the toilet seat afgesê, ek gaan nou sien, ek gaan sê, eie goed. Like, who you spiting, man?
Exactly.
You're part of the same team.
Yes,
so you
yes.
literally like
Yes.
spiting your own team. You
Yeah,
are in the same
yeah.
team. So, and for me, it's like we're getting to this place where if you hurt, I'm hurt. If you cry, I cry. If you happy, that's people say happy wife, happy life. And we just like, no, like I know what makes her mad. Why am I doing it? I know what makes her happy. Let me try and do
And
more of
don't
that.
do
And
it,
we
yeah.
literally
Yeah.
get to this place now where we, after 6 years, are literally enjoying our marriage. So we try to outdo each other, man. So it's like tonight I will go and get. There's a place called Eazy Burger in Wynberg. It's on in Woodstock. So in Goodwood. So I'll be like, I'm gonna get Eazy Burger, and I'm not gonna tag her. And then I'll just show up with Eazy Burger because that's like a favorite thing. And then the next day she'll be like, okay, you got Eazy Burger. I'm gonna get like fried, fried rice or whatever. I
Yes,
like again.
yes.
It's that kind of vibe, man. Where you just try and do that instead of being like, you forgot this and you forgot that. And we wanted to get married. I wanted to tell you this earlier. We wanted to get married on the public
I think
holiday.
this must be your last. Because
It is my last. We wanted to get married on a public holiday for obvious reasons, so that every year on your anniversary, it's a public holiday.
yes.
So at the time, I think, is the holiday in November? I don't remember.
No,
But no, we wanted to
no.
get married in August originally, winter. fireplace, hot chocolate, blah, 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 blah. And then the venue was like, no, we don't have, the venue
Don't
doesn't
have hot chocolate.
Then it was a case of like, okay, so now what's happening? Oh, and then something happened with the family, and we were like, oh, they're not going to be here. They're not going to fly back home to come to our wedding. They're only coming back in November, so they can't be here in August. What are we going to do? And this is like in January when we're talking, eh? When are they leaving? Are they leaving like the 24th of March? So I'm like, no, what if we got married before they left? She's like, that's in 2 months' time. I'm like, yeah, all right. So we phone and we're like, hey, we're looking for a venue. Oh, cool. What's the date? 21st of March. So they go, oh, for next year. And we're like, no, for now. They're like, what? They put the phone down. They're like, you mad?
Yeah.
So we phone up, hey, you guys do weddings? Okay, per head. Okay. What's the date? March. Okay. So when are you sending your save the date? We're like, we're not doing save the date. It's now. Like, oh, you're getting married March this year. And everyone's like, you guys are mad. So eventually we find this place. Well, no, I find this friend of mine who's dating a woman that's the events manager for the 12 Apostles Hotel. And I'm like, yo, babe, I don't know if we can afford the 12 Apostles, but it's a beautiful hotel. It's a beautiful place. The view, whatever. We should go there for dinner and check it out. So I call my homie and I'm like, yo, tell your girl to hook it up or whatever. We go there for dinner. They bring out the stuff. And it was now, what you go building vibes, man. Go
Yeah.
It's like small vibes.
Big,
It's all about the decor. Like, I'm like, where's the food? But anyway, so we there and it's like, yo, this is nice. Okay, cool. So what's the date? 21 March. And they're like, oh, we have a wedding that day. So I'm like, oh, what are they? Like, I'm just asking, are they here the whole day? Are they getting married the morning, the evening? Can't we just do like I'll let you know tomorrow. Okay, cool. But it's a special kind. I'm like, special? Like, in what way? So, 21 March in South Africa is Human Rights Day. Human Rights Day, right? And I'm saying, you'll still right. She calls me back and she's like, hey, Eazy, you guys can get the 22nd of March. And I'm like, the 22nd? Yeah, it's a Sunday. I'm like, yeah, no, the Saturday is the 21st, but next year it won't be, the following, eventually
yes.
the 21st will be in a Monday to a Friday, and we'll get the day off, and it's a public holiday. So did you talk to the couple that's getting married? Yeah, I can't really talk to them. I'm like, what do you mean you can't talk to them? She's like, 2 dogs are getting married on the 21st of March. So they had a wedding for 2 dogs in South Africa. and then we couldn't have our wedding at the venue on a Saturday because they were getting someone.
I said, we can bark.
100, I think it was 100 people.
What?
It was a good set.
For 2 dogs.
You had to see the decor because they were like they're leaving
I'm
the
going to
decor
zip my mouth because I might just say something that will get you fired.
You don't want to say something. Trust me. Look, yeah, it is.
So you guys got married on a Sunday.
On the 22nd. Shout out to
okay.
Bob and Bella. That's the couple that got married. The 2 dogs.
Cute.
You know Bob and Bella.
Huh?
You don't know them. They're like the most fun. They're like on breakfast on TV every day in the morning.
Oh, you serious now?
Yeah.
I'll
show you a picture now. Oh, okay. But yeah.
That's not my favorite TV.
Easy. We have to say goodbye now.
No, I want to say goodbye.
You have to say goodbye. It was so nice for you to chat.
Yes.
I mean, you, at first you were like...
That's what I like about it.
know?
It didn't feel like an interview or thing. It felt like we were just, we are in your lounge.
Yeah, no, exactly.
We are lounging with the Burmos.
Thank you so much. Please,
Thank you
our
so
apologies
much,
to your
Easy.
wife.
No, it's all good.
Nazis must calls,
I'm sending a message as we speak. I don't know if there's a camera
no,
there.
it's fine. Send a message.
Evidence. No? It's
In
evidence.
fact, do like a video call and then she can see you still here.
No, it's fine.
But Easy, thank you so
you,
much.
man.
There's so much more I wanted to ask you, but you know what? It went one way and we followed your direction.
I'm sorry.
And thank you, loungers, for tuning in. We might just do this one in 2 parts. I'm not sure.
Yeah, part 1 and part 2.
Sure.
The continuation.
But thank you again, Easy. And thank
Thanks,
you,
Easy, man.
loungers.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.